Hello everyone, welcome back. This episode of Bitcoin Trade. Um, I'll go over some chart analysis and some comments left by some viewers here. And so let's go over some comments here first. Let's see if I can just go to it real quick. Sorry about that. Wasn't quite ready. Now that it's a little warmer here, man, it's pretty nice outside. Spring is just around the corner. So let's see here. Anyways. Oh, okay. Well, I'll just go into the chart analysis. I'll go into that a little bit later. So let's take a look at what's going on. And I hope everyone's having a good day trading. So here's a 1 day. This is a Bitstamp 1 day daily. Goes back for a long time. So this is kind of all new territory here. These prices are recent price activities. I'm speaking from here up to here. So anything that you see before this doesn't really help you on the pricing. Not yet anyway, until it goes down further, what you're seeing here is this was a really good support, but as you see here from recent price action, it's no longer a very good support now. So why would that be? Well, I've been speaking to a few miners, and you know, the problem on the mining with the miners, mining rigs and everything, is that they're trying to keep up with generating new bitcoins, and as you see the difficulty over here, it gets harder and harder. They're realizing they're getting less and less bitcoins, so they're upgrading to newer equipment, they're buying more equipment, and so they've obviously, to do that, they've got to sell their bitcoins. Well, this is kind of what's going on, what you're seeing in the most recent, I would say the most recent price action here, as what you're seeing is the steady sell-off from miners, in my opinion. And that's what I think is going on. And so they're either loading up to the exchanges, or they're selling to someone who is basically slowly but surely is just selling off, or what they do is they're trying to get into the exchanges here, and then they're literally dumping any massive amounts of bitcoins that they purchased, causing a downgrade effect, a downtrending effect like this. Now, if you look at the recent here on this Bitstamp, I've drawn two lines, this being a pivotal point right here. But from here to here, it comes out here, and if you look at it, it's just following that very top line right here, resistance. And so it hasn't been able to manage to break out through there. So that's kind of what you're seeing. And so hopefully this it looked like it seemed like a good support, but as you see, it just kind of was, and then it slowly broke down. And this is a very strong, I mean, for a daily, to see this break through like that on a line, it's not that strong, but at the same time, a solid line like this, a solid candlestick breaking through, that's an indication of a more downtrend. And so I'll take a look at some of the other charts here, but basically what you're seeing is a sell-off probably by the miners. They've constantly upgraded and delays after delays from their mining. People who've ordered mining rigs, they're going through delays, and then people who have mining rigs, they're constantly upgrading, and they're getting, the more they upgrade, the more Bitcoins they're getting on a per daily, per monthly, whatever. And this is what you're seeing. You're seeing an over mining. And so at some point, what I like about Bitcoin is that this is all about market supply and demand, market value. Okay, market value. So what you're seeing is, at the current time, an overabundance of Bitcoin versus the current value, versus the current value of Bitcoin. So what you're seeing is a lot of Bitcoins being provided to the market, and a couple of reasons is, I think the main reason is the miners are, they've invested X amount of money. I mean, if you keep up with the news, you'll realize the miners are they're getting a little too greedy here, it seems like, in my opinion, and they've overextended themselves on perhaps mining equipment. They're seeing an opportunity, so they're just going in and investing into that operation. So they need to raise money, and the way to raise money is, well, they got a lot of Bitcoins. What are they going to do? They're going to sell their Bitcoins. So that's kind of what you're seeing, what I think is going on here. And at some point, the economics, all right, of the amount of Bitcoins they have versus what the Bitcoins are worth, are going to turn upside down for them at some point. And what you're going to see is, like anything that's been regulated and then deregulated, telecom, for example, what else? Electricity. Just to give you an idea, something I experienced since the great, internet .com bust kind of phenomenon, almost 20 years ago, I would say, yeah, back in 2000. And I see a lot of headline news on that. But my point is to raise money for these miners who actually own mining rigs and have overhead and have to, they need cash flow. I think that's what you're seeing. And a lot of people have gone into the mining rig business. A lot of people have gone into investing in Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies or alternative currencies, virtual currencies, whatever you want to call them right now. But a lot of people are investing into this, and I think there might be some over-investing. And is that good or is that bad? I don't know. But I could tell you right now, at some point, and excuse me, this is BitC on a daily, and BitC has a whole different kind of something different going on here. As you see, this top is way over here relative to some of the other exchanges, but I'm using again this as a pivot, and then you're seeing more in line with some of the other exchanges, just using these 2 points and these 2 points here and here. And so what you're seeing is I guess what you would call a fan, kind of like a line, Fibonacci fans, or I don't really use them. I just like to pick a point and then use that. And so, oh goodness. And so what you're seeing here is, what I've kind of been seeing on BitC is just this. It's been following this lower trend, just bouncing up here and here, actually just almost following this line. And I was hoping that this would represent a support, but it looks like it's not going to be very supportive at this time. And so it's just, oh, excuse me one moment. All right, sorry about that for that little interruption there. But my point is, that's what you're seeing here. These little fans that come out. I'm using this as a pivot. So one top here, then one on right here, and these are more resistant lines. I want to see what happens. And some of these resistance becomes a support, albeit a downward support. But this is kind of what I'm seeing on Bitsy here, and that's, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But from looking at this overall, this is what's making sense right now, and that's what I'm going with. The problem with the downtrend is it can just follow this line forever and ever until it just, you never know, just pop right back up. And I think it's going to be at some point. I think this level, anything below this level, at some point the miners are going to realize it's not economically feasible to sell Bitcoins. And you may see a lot of miners start to go out of business. My point, going back to deregulation and all that, usually you see something like this after something has been regulated, and then it gets deregulated and it's open up to a market, and then you see a flood of people come in, and you see a flood of people go out of business. I've actually had first-hand experience with some of this during the telecom deregulation, and here in Texas, a energy deregulation. I experienced it more on a consumer level, to some degree to a I guess I don't know how you would say it, investor. I wouldn't say investor level, business level. I got into some of that deregulated market, a long time ago. Anyways, what happens is, you get a flood of people come in, and eventually that flood of people causes so much abundance of whatever they're selling that they realize that they can't sustain a business. So that's what I think is going on here. You're seeing, and I think the miners have a lot to do with what's going on, because ultimately all Bitcoins come from nowhere, I guess. They're mined, is what I'm trying to say. All Bitcoins are mined, and right now the miners, they have them. They have a lot of them too, because they kept upgrading because the difficulty has gotten harder and harder. That's what I'm hearing. So compared to the difficulty rate here versus a year, 2 years ago, unfortunately they're not going to be able to extract more Bitcoins versus what they can, harvest, auto-generate, whatever, mine Bitcoins. So at some point you're going to see a wall that these miners are going to have to face, and if some of them are not very business oriented or don't understand where value comes from, market value, how to transfer that value to something else, they're going to be left holding, the bag, I guess. I'm not sure. But that's, the reason I say they're going to be left holding the bag is because, they have overhead cost. Hold on just a minute. I'll be right back. Oh, sorry about that. But I'll try to wrap this up. So where was I? I don't know, I forgot. But anyways, let me continue here. I think I was on value, market value. Well, anyways, my point is, miners they have operating costs, they have overhead costs, they have to have cash flow. And so, as the price goes down, they get a little bit more desperate, because I think for some miners and some groups, or perhaps anybody who invested into a mining operation, they're realizing that it's coming to a point where it could flip over. When I say flip over, it means the cost of generating a Bitcoin versus the money that they will receive from selling a Bitcoin is upside down. It costs more money to sell a Bitcoin. Matter of fact, they're losing money to some degree. So this is kind of like the scenario. And if you just look back 20 years ago, dot com bust, right? Uh, telecom bust, electricity electricity bust. Let me see. Well, I guess you don't have to go too far with the internet. The internet boom. There's probably like a good. I don't really recall any companies out there, but I know there was a lot of them out there, and they all popped up and they all popped right back down. Telecom, I would think like MCI, WorldCom, that kind of. You don't see them anywhere anymore. As far as energy or electricity, what comes into mind is something from where I live, Enron. And so this is kind of what you're probably witnessing right now, if you haven't realized, is you're seeing the but this is kind of interesting. It's Bitcoin. It was already deregulated, going into a regulated market now. And so what we're seeing is the craziness of an unregulated market, as much as this all was. And of course, right here was the fall of Mt. Gox. And then I'm not sure what this was, but maybe just a hopeful sign that this could be the end of the Mt. Gox debacle, trying to go back up. And it had tried, and it looked like it was, but then recent news of IRS, how they're going to treat Bitcoins. The world is starting to really regulate Bitcoins to some degree, and so interesting phenomenon. Instead of something being regulated and going into deregulation, you're seeing something that is unregulated starting to become regulated, and the miners are desperately trying to get their money. Miners are trying to desperately get their money before it becomes too regulated, and to some degree. That's my opinion anyway. So this here on Bitsy, you see a clear break through these 2 points. Worst case scenario, you're looking at $100 per Bitcoin. If this is a forecast for any future chart analysis, there you go, $100. Your next stop or your next limit buy order should probably be right around 100, because that's going to be the indication that I'm seeing anyway. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this is kind of what I'm seeing, and so I'm letting anybody who's watching kind of know. And so this is Bitfin. Oh, Bitfin up here. Bitfin up here, and again, daily. And Bitfin's a little different than the other charts in that the top line is really, the resistance is really going on along this top line here, and you can see it more better on Bitfin than some of the other charts. And again, you see this $100 from $100, and so you see how it just broke through heavy, work its way down, and then try to bounce up on that, and then it's not quite breaking through heavily yet, but the fact that it broke through, there might be still some hope that it's going to bounce off of here, but there could be a good chance that it can go below this mark, and you're back to looking at a $400 to $200, maybe even $100 range for Bitcoin. And I think at some point going down here, that's why I really think the miners are, if you can imagine, if you were in December and you're a miner and the value of Bitcoin was, going kind of like right here, as you can see. Um, it's it's very optimistic, right? And could you imagine someone made $100,000 order for some mining rigs that never came, or if they did come, by the time you're over here, they don't really make, they're not generating the same amount of Bitcoins because it's gotten harder. And on top of that, the price has gone down. And so some of these miners are in a real conundrum here. And I don't know what to say to them other than I hope they were not so foolish with the money that they have earned. That they were wise enough to understand, market value of certain things in certain industries. They tend to move. They move around. So if you've been watching any of my videos, and hopefully you have, you're beginning to understand Bitcoin is a lot of things, but the most important thing Bitcoin is, okay, and I'm starting to really realize this because I'm starting to expand more and more beyond Bitcoin, but using Bitcoin as a vehicle to move value around, to move the value of whatever I purchased for it, and then converting that value into another commodity. It could be gold. I haven't bought any gold. It could be interesting enough, it could be to donate to a campaign. It could be a campaign contribution. It could be, I don't know, a pair of shoes. If I need some shoes, I'll go and buy some shoes with my Bitcoin. My point is, you got to make use of this Bitcoin. Is my point. Make use of it other than a store of value or a stored value device. Just you got to transfer that value into something else, perhaps, and turn it into something real at some point. Okay, and so that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. And then let me go over one more, and that's Coinbase. Okay, Coinbase, there you go. And there's not too much info on this. This is all I got. This is all they're showing anyway. And again, you're seeing the same thing. Now, it's following this channel here. At some point, like I said, the miners they're going to exhaust themselves because the economics aren't going to work out. It's going to turn upside down, and so it's an opportunity for investors, not speculators anymore. This has gone beyond the realm of speculating. And let me just, okay, looks like the price have gone up a little bit. So, but my point is, it's beyond the scope of speculation now. If you want to turn this into something real and make real investments, start making some real legal tender from your Bitcoin investments, you can, but at some point you got to take that value from the Bitcoin and learn how to transfer it into another something else other than mining rigs. Don't just buy mining rigs. Anyways, let me conclude this episode, and let me see if I could find that other article real quick on what I was talking about. And I think I got it right here. Hold on. But I had a viewer ask me about Zeta coins, and let me see if I can find. And I don't know if it's the same user or maybe it's a group of people. Okay, here you go. and it's mentioned several times in my videos here and all that. But here's one of the users, but there's multiple users that mention the same thing. They say, hey, great content, however, it should be stressed that Bitcoin is just the first step in the cryptocurrency ladder. You should also do a video on Zetacoin, one of the alternatives to Bitcoin. The lead developers are in a meeting to make it a common mobile payment solution around Africa. You should get Zetacoin on whatever. So, my feelings on that, and thank you for viewing and all the good comments. I did address alternative currencies, and if here's my perspective on alternative currencies. I think it's wonderful. I think it's great, and I hope that I really don't mind as many cryptocurrencies as there can be possibly out there. But at some point, what's going to happen is you're going to see the same thing, just like anything else. When there's a new industry, you're going to see a lot of people get into it. They're going to try to make their own cryptocurrencies to develop a market and everything. And it's you're just going to have to realize this is all about market demand. You're playing against other people, and how the market develops will depend on what happens out there. It's going to be a flood of currencies, and at some point you're going to see some of them start to fall off the radar, and that's just how it is. Not all cryptocurrencies are going to survive. And the reason why I'm dealing in Bitcoin is because Bitcoin is by far the most popular and the highest valued. So, if Bitcoin is going to go down to $300, and I think someone said the Zetacoins is 0.1. It's like a penny. Well, if Bitcoin goes down, is Zetacoin going to go up? From what I can tell, it seems like all the other cryptocurrencies out there fall in line with some of the, Bitcoin or Litecoin. I mean, I'll give you an example here, a quick example if I can. Let me see here. Let me open it to a new thing here. So, let me see here. Okay. So let's have a look at the different markets, and let's look at Litecoin. I'll just pick Bitsy, all right? I mean, I really don't care, but let's just. Now this is the chart of Bitsy for Litecoin, which is not so drastic, okay? But if you look at it, it kind of falls in line with, has the same pattern. So as Bitcoin goes down in value, is Zetacoin going to go down in value? Probably. So that's the thing about alternative currencies, is they kind of all are somewhat pegged to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is by far the most popular and well known. But it may be years before we find out what cryptocurrencies are going to survive and what aren't, for whatever reason. So anyways, that's my opinion on it. Hopefully this helps you out. Here's another quick chart here, and of course, as long as this is red, all right. I mean, if you're wondering when it's going to go back up, I don't know, but I know this: as long as this is all red, we're pretty much in a downtrend. And the best thing you can do, if you're a very long-term investor in Bitcoins, and I'm going to be starting to do this myself, because I don't think Bitcoins are going to disappear. Okay, it's not like when the dot-com bust happened, all the dot-com companies may have disappeared, but the internet still was there. So what I'm saying is there might be a lot of people in the mining business or investors who will drop out or lose money, whatever, but the infrastructure and Bitcoins will still be around. And it'll just come back again at a different point in time for whatever reason. But if you want to know, is it going up or is it going down? Well, look at this and you guys tell me. I think it's pretty apparent that it's going down. So when this turns back green, or you start seeing green spots again, that's probably a good indication that it's starting to turn over and starting to go back up. So anyways, let me end this, and like, dislike, leave a comment, or do a video response. Till next time, stay tuned. Bye.